Quick spoiler warning before the video. I'm going to be talking about some of the later seasons of Archer. They're mostly self-contained, so it doesn't really matter to the story, but I still recommend watching it before you watch this video. It'll make a lot more sense, plus it's a really good show. Okay, on with the video. Other than shows like Family Guy and South Park, Archer was probably the first adult cartoon I properly got into, and I honestly think that it might be one of, if not the funniest cartoons I've seen so far. I'd probably put it third under Duckman and A Life and Times of Tim.
I distinctly heard.
Why are we stopping the music?
Niggity.
It's not even a real word.
It's close enough.
It's got such a unique style of humour that I really haven't seen in anything else. Coming out in 2009, Archer gained a huge following pretty quickly, receiving a bunch of awards and having mainly positive reviews, which makes sense. The show is filled with clever writing, memorable and likable characters, and a really unique animation style. The show centers around Archer, obviously, a competent but extremely egotistical and childish secret agent, completing dangerous missions for his mom/boss, Mallory. The first 4 seasons are pretty much a standard episodic office drama meets spy action, until the 5th season, Archer Vice, which, by the way, best one, where the group move away from the spy agency and start selling cocaine. The show takes a huge turn when at the end of season 7, when after getting shot, Archer ends up in a coma, which is where stuff gets interesting. The next 3 seasons are set in Archer's coma-induced dreams. The 3 seasons, Dreamland, Danger Island, and 1999, are self-contained and storyline-driven, which is unique for the show, since the other seasons, with the exception of Vice, were pretty much just mission of the week. It's a fun idea, since you can do whatever you want with the characters without affecting the rest of the show, and you can put them in pretty much whatever situation you want. But did it actually work? Were the seasons any good? Let's find out. Grab some more milk and jammies, because it's time to get into Archer's dream trilogy.
Although, there's no telling what he knows, or what he's thinking about. Well, dreaming about, I suppose.
Starting off, we got Dreamland. The first episode starts off with a funeral, leading you to think that it's Archer's, but really it's for Woodhouse, which stings a lot more considering George Cole, the voice actor for Woodhouse in the first 4 seasons, died in 2015. Then we see Lana and Mallory with Archer in hospital. This is where the episode really starts. In this season, Archer's a private detective in 1940s LA, trying to figure out who killed his partner Woodhouse, but gets constantly sidetracked with trafficking, kidnapping, and cyborgs by Mother, the owner of Dreamland.
He said it! He said it!
The club, which is the main setting for most of the season. This was probably my favourite season of the 3 when they came out. I honestly think out of all of them, this one had the best story. It's a genuine mystery who killed Woodhouse, and all the characters work so well in the new environment they're put in, which makes sense since it's pretty much just Archer with LA Noir slapped on it.
He has the biggest schlong in Hollywood and the smallest gun.
Which is probably my only issue with this season. The characters only work so well because they're all pretty much the same as they were in the earlier seasons, which thinking about it is more of a nitpick than anything since they're still really enjoyable. The art and animation is really good too. In the first 2 seasons the animation looks pretty limited, but it really picks up after that, and it shows in Dreamland. They really caught that film noir aesthetic here. There's tons of moody lighting and sweet atmospheric backgrounds. There aren't really a lot of huge changes, but the period-appropriate character design really sells the idea that this isn't just Archer. Honestly, you could watch any of these seasons without knowing anything about the previous ones and still really enjoy them. The character movement seems so much more fluid and the action scenes really feel dynamic. Speaking of which, the action in the season's great. There's a lot of really striking visuals, especially in the climax. I know I said all the characters are pretty much the same as in the original show, but there are a few little differences and pairings that more than make up for it. Archer's still more or less the same guy, but he's noticeably more sympathetic and a bit less self-serving. We get a lot of fun character interactions we don't usually get to see in this season too, like Cyril and Pam, who don't really have much screen time together in the main show. Overall, I think it's a pretty good season of a great show that could probably stand on its own. It's definitely up there as one of my favorites in the whole show, and I probably recommend it to anyone, even if they didn't want to watch the whole show.
Sure, this is French territory. Of course adultery is not illegal.
What about consensual buggery?
Next up we got Danger Island, coming out a year after Dreamland, and holy shit, it is way better than I remember it being. It's definitely my favourite out of the 3 after rewatching them for this video. For one thing, we got David Cross back in this bitch, baby! Nah, but for real, this season's great. This time around, Archer's a sea pilot with a failing business on an island in the South Pacific during the 1930s, and to make some money, he and Pam, who's his co-pilot here, tried to race against a Nazi Cyril to find a sacred idol. The creator and writer of the show, Adam Reed, said that the season pays homage to the short-lived TV series Tales of the Gold Monkey, which he claimed is one of his favourite shows.
Not a gold monkey.
You don't know that.
Yes, I do. Not a gold monkey.
But it could.
I think the story is just a little bit weaker than Dreamland, but it definitely makes up for it with how they use the characters, like having Cyril, one of the main characters, as an antagonist, which is a super interesting choice and a really fun idea which I think worked really well. What I think really makes this season is the relationship between Archer and Pam. I think my favourite episodes in the whole series are the ones where Archer and Pam have to work together, like Edie's wedding in Southbound and Down. I think they've got such great chemistry together and they rarely use it in this season. We get a lot more of Krieger or Crackers than usual as well. I'm probably biased since Pam and Krieger are my favourite characters and I'm a huge sucker for any story with a jungle in it. If you got animals and shit, I'm there, dude. This season's a lot brighter and way more colourful than Dreamland 2, and damn does it look good. From the wide shots of the island to the actual island itself, this season's probably the best looking in the whole show. My only nitpick with this season is that it kind of takes a while to actually get into the danger. Like, there's only 8 episodes this season, and they only get into the jungle in the 5th one. And the last episode's mostly spent in the Temple of the Idol, so we only get like 3 episodes of actual Danger Island. And 2 of those episodes are spent in the same place. They're all good episodes, but I feel like they could have gone into a lot more of the adventure part of the season a bit earlier, because there was so much opportunity for the writers to have a lot of fun with Danger Island. Fun fact you probably already know if you're a huge fan of Archer, but in the intro there's some Morse code which when translated spells out 934TXS, which shows up a few times in Archer as well as Adam Reed's other shows Frisky Dingo and C-Lab 2001. It only recently got explained in 2019, a whole 10 years after the show's release. It's pretty much just a little in-joke between show writers Matt Thompson and Reed. It's just an abbreviation of the password that they used when they'd order weed in the 90s from Dr. P. Hayes' Pot Delivery, which I think is just fucking hilarious.
Racist.
Damn, we ended on a kinda sour note, huh? I really don't have a lot to say about this one. Archer 1999 is easily the weakest of the 3, maybe the whole series. Not to say it's terrible, but I'm sorry, I really couldn't get into this one. As of writing this, I watched the whole season yesterday and I really don't remember any of it. Unlike the others, it's pretty episodic with Archer and Lana, his now ex-wife, being captains of a salvage ship and they, I don't know, do Alien or Star Trek. Look, all you gotta know is it's just Archer in space. I think this season had the most potential for interesting episodes. There's plenty of endless possibilities that they could do and I feel like it gets kinda wasted. This season has the same issue as Dreamland, where the characters are pretty much the same as they were normally, other than Carol or Cheryl, who's somewhat competent in this season. With that being said, this season isn't bad, it's just really not for me. There's a ton of great things about 1999. For one thing, the character design this season is great. Archer's a pretty grounded show, so having this season set in space gave the artists the opportunity to go really crazy with different worlds and all sorts of aliens and weird little freaks. It's cool as shit to see how Archer characters would look in deep space. For example, Barry, or in this season Barry 6, is a whole ass robot instead of being a cyborg like he normally is, and his design is really cool. However, on the other end of the spectrum, you've got Pam, whose design I really couldn't get into. I don't know, it just really caught my attention in every episode in a bad way, and she looks like the Thing, but worse.
Gotta say, it's fantastic.
Like the other 2 seasons, the colors and backgrounds here are great. One episode even won Outstanding Individual Achievement in Animation in 2020, which was deserved. The backgrounds in the episode of Road Trip were beautiful. The last 2 episodes are great too. This is the point where Archer starts coming out of his coma. It's really cool to see what appears to be him going crazy, but in reality it's him slowly waking up. Characters flash in and out of the coma versions and real versions, and it all culminates in a flashback of all the earlier seasons, climaxing in Archer finally waking up from his coma, finishing up Archer's Dream Trilogy.
Goddamn Barry.
All in all, I'd say all the seasons were at worst fine, but at best great. If I had to rate them in order from my least favourite to most favourite, it'd be 1999, Dreamland, and then Danger Island. Compared to the rest of the show, they also hold up pretty well. I'd say Danger Island is probably, in my opinion, the second best after Vice, which is probably the season that got me into Archer as much as I am today. For this video, I really wanted to do like a deeper look into what they could have meant for Archer psychologically, but I really couldn't pick up on anything other than maybe Dreamland being him attempting to come to terms with the death of Woodhouse, or since he died at the end of Danger Island and 1999. It could be him coming to terms with his own morality or something like that. This is all just me being speculative though, so if you have any thoughts on it, let me know in the comments. Something I thought was pretty interesting about these 3 seasons is that they all have definitive years that they're set in, but the year in the actual show is left ambiguous. I don't know, I thought it was just pretty cool.
Holy shit, that's right. He's been on this crummy island 4 years, so he's never heard of The Hobbit.
Which, as we all know, was published just last year in 1937.
I think that what originally drew me to these seasons is that I really love Elseworld stories. I just think it's so cool to see an already existing character be put in a completely different scenario and world, and it's rare to see in a TV show, especially for a whole season at a time, and I think way more shows should do it. You don't need to worry about continuity or previously existing character development, it's just pure fun. Anyway, that's all I've got for this one. Hope you enjoyed the video. I've got a bunch more ideas I want to work on. Like, I want to do one on various music videos, one on Rob Zombie's El Super Beasto, and I want to make a huge video on why I think American Dad sweeps Family Guy, which has been stuck in my head for the past year. So let me know in the comments what you want to see next, and make sure you subscribe to keep updated on my next video, when and whatever it might be. Also, this is the first video I've done in Audacity, so let me know if it's any better or worse than my first one. I'm still working most of this shit out, so literally any advice is appreciated. Alright, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you dudes in the next one.